Hi guys, welcome back to the wood turning section of my YouTube channel. That's 600 RPM on a rough turned warped bowl. That's how steady this lathe is. You could put a 10p piece on there and it wouldn't fall over. There's no vibration. That's at 600 RPM. My other lathe before this, instead of 600 RPM, I would have had to have dropped it down to something like about 275. That's where I would have had to have dropped it down to. That's where the extra weight and mass of cast iron, as you can see, comes in, and then there's about another third of a ton of wood on it as well. So my lathe now weighs in at around about 2/3 of a ton. Right, let's get on with the wood. This is another piece of sweet chestnut. Found a bit of a crack starting to propagate, so got some super glue on that. It's the first sweet chestnut I've ever turned, actually. I don't know what it turns like once it's dry, but it were an absolute darling to turn wet. But then again, most woods are, aren't they? It has developed a couple of cracks. I do have this. I don't know if you're familiar with what I usually do. Is I'll wet turn the bowl, and then I'll submerge the bowl in a concoction of water and washing up liquid. Usually I have about 3/4 washing up liquid to 1/4 water, and I dunk it in there for anything from 12 hours to a week. And basically the idea is that the washing up liquid goes and fills in, gets drawn into the cell structure of the wood and replaces the water that's in there with washing up liquid. Now when it starts to dry, the cells cannot collapse very much because they're full of washing up liquid, whereas if they were just full of water it would just evaporate and they would be able to fully collapse, whereas if they've got washing up liquid in them they can't collapse as much, so therefore you get less cracks. Now it sounds like a really Heath Robinson type of idea, I know, but honestly I've been turning 10 years and I've been using that particular system now for about 9 years, and it really does make a difference, honestly. This particular piece wasn't put into the, I call it gunk, it wasn't put into my gunk liquid, and it has developed cracks. Now I can more or less say hand on heart that if I had have submerged it for 12 hours or longer in the gunk, that those cracks may well not have occurred. It really does work. I mean, it sounds really stupid, you know, putting wood in washing up liquid, but it really does work. It seems to stop cracks whilst they're drying. Stupid. It sounds really crazy. When I read about it I thought that's crazy, but I'll give it a go. But it does work. So there's an interesting thing for you to maybe have a go at. It really does work. Here we got another piece of sweet chestnut. There's a little piece of detail on the rims. I don't know if it'll focus properly. Might be a bit too close. It's a nice piece actually, this. The trouble is with timber, you can't really tell how nice it's going to be, can you, until you actually finish the piece and get some finish on it, an oil or whatever, and then you see the beauty of the timber. Another piece, again sweet chestnut, spalted slightly, you can see in the bottom there, and see the spalting slightly, little cracks started to propagate. Again, this wasn't putting the gunk or the washing up liquid treatment, neither was this. This is why it's got loads of super glue all over it. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, why ain't he thrown an ugly looking thing like that away? Well, sometimes the most ugly looking things can turn out to be some of the most beautiful pieces of wood. Honestly, these fissures and that, what other people might regard as being defects. I'll start again. The fissures, you know, the black bits here and whatnot that you can see, other people might regard them as defects. Me, personally, I regard them as an item to be shown off. I will fill those in with brass powder or copper powder, aluminium powder, whatever, and make a show of them, you know. And it, where other people may have thrown the wood away, I will make an item of it. So there we are. Some more pieces. That is really light. That feels almost as light as silver birch, but yet I know that it's sweet chestnut. That is super light, just like silver birch, just slightly heavier than silver birch. Right. I think that's about it now, guys. I've shown you all the interesting, well, pieces of interest that's been dried in my shack. I've got quite a few round the back of my shack as well. I have a covered portion that's lifted up off the floor that I put timber around there to air dry. So believe me, this is not just the only timber that I've got. I've got loads of the stuff. I've never got enough. You ask any turner, have you got enough wood? And they'll probably say no. And I'm the same, you know. If people want to send me some timber, please do. But I've got plenty of other timber. And these are just natives, by the way. Just native timbers. My workshop's that small, I have to stuff them all over the place. The stuff that's on my lathe is exotic, the heaviest types. Cocobolo, Magura, stuff like that, Mahuhu. I tried to put the heaviest exotics that I could find onto my lathe shelf to give it that bit more stability, and it really has worked. As I say, the lathe on its own weighs 285 kilos, so by the time I've put this wood on, it weighs in roughly by my calculations, my lathe now weighs a combined weight of 2/3 of a ton. So that's why you can spin out of shape balls at a higher RPM and not get it dancing all over. As I said, my other lathe were a DVR XP, and if I'd have had the ball on that was in the previous video on at 600 RPM, it would have been bouncing all over the shed. In fact, I wouldn't have been able to put it on at 600 RPM. It would have been too dodgy, you know. But because it's got more mass, more weight, more solidity, you're able to start turning at those higher RPMs. Right, we'll end it there. Hope you'll join me again on some of my other videos. If you've enjoyed the videos, please give me a thumbs up, and if you really enjoy it, why not subscribe? Alright, catch you later guys. Take care in those workshops. Bye bye.